It started with the costumes as well. You know, they...
Or they're getting them off.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Dearest gentle reader, welcome back to the Bridgerton podcast. I'm Lady Alison Hammond, your host for the event of the season. This is the podcast where I sit down for a Scotch egg and a stiff cup of tea with some of the stars of my favourite Netflix show. I'll also be chatting to the people who bring Regency-era Mayfair to life. But before I get more indiscreet than one of Lady Whistledown's society papers, a quick spoiler warning. This show will discuss the new season of Bridgerton in detail. So if you haven't already seen the first 4 episodes of season 4 of Bridgerton on Netflix, then you better do that now. In today's episode, we're doing a deep dive on a couple of season 4's most compelling relationships, both featuring very naughty mamas. Araminta is the wicked stepmother straight out of a fairy tale. I'll be chatting to Katie Leung, who plays her, and try my best not to boo. She'll be joined by a poor old stepdaughter, Sophie, played by Yurin Ha. But first, a plotline that's had us all obsessed is the sexy story of Lady Violet and Lord Anderson. I could not wait to sit down with Ruth Gemmell and Daniel Francis, who plays the saucy pair, and ask them if they'll ever look at a cup of tea the same way again. Ruth, Daniel, it's so lovely to see you both.
Lovely to see you.
Oh, it is heating up in Bridgerton with your beautiful relationship, which I've followed and I've absolutely loved. It is really heating up. How exciting was it for both of you when you actually found out how your relationship was moving forward?
I found out in a costume fitting and I was slightly taken aback. I was absolutely bricking it by the time I came out of that costume fitting. So that was a little bit worrying, really.
So what happened? You're getting changed, and then does a producer come over to you and say,
no, they start fitting you up for the outfit and I was a bit like, okay,
what's this for?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was a bit scary, and that's how I kind of found out. And then we got the scripts.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think mine was that way as well, where they go, you know,
Get naked.
Well, strip you off and then give you a little, modesty thing.
And
I'm
you're
like, what is this
what
for?
is this?
Where does that go? You know?
Really? Is that how you found out?
Yeah.
So then did you phone each other and like, what's going on?
I think we did after we actually got the script.
Yeah, just to kind of talk through it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
They
they're
were
very
very
respectful
and
and intimacy coordinators and everything.
Yeah.
So it's...
And only what we were willing to do.
Exactly,
and,
exactly.
my ass wasn't getting out for anyone, so,
I know, let's talk about the butt shot
Yeah.
because you look good. Did
Yeah.
you do a few squats beforehand?
I woke up like this. No.
Just woke up
Squats.
Just beforehand?
Squats no.
And did you ask for a little monitor just to see what the shot was?
Look, you gotta make sure that it's moisturised in a certain way.
Oh,
and-
you were
know what I
moisturised,
mean?
babes. You were moisturised to the heavens. It looked great.
Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. But honestly, that moment, I am the tea you're having. Iconic. I know I keep going on about it, but it is just a moment, isn't it?
It's epic.
Have you got a T-shirt yet for it? A hat?
Actually, that's a great point. Just get the t-shirts
We
made.
should get
Mugs.
a T-shirt, yeah.
I
Mugs.
am the tea you're having. It's got to be a mug.
Come on.
I love that.
Come on.
How much fun did you have making that?
We felt very comfortable and very in control. For starters, the crew are brilliant and they're like a family. And in those sort of situations, you can only feel comfortable if you can make a tit of yourself and not really worry about it.
Yeah.
And, we had the intimacy codes, Lizzie, and
Exactly.
all of that kind of stuff. And also it started with the costumes as well. They...
Or they're getting them off.
Well, yeah.
Since,
Yeah.
people talk about, putting them on and how it is, it must be uncomfortable or whatever. Try getting them
you
off
could get
at
them off,
speed.
yeah.
When you've got intention.
You got stuck in the shirt at one point, I seem
think
to remember.
buttons went flying
Did
at
it?
some point.
Well, you did it so cool. It looked so cool. The edit's very,
Pop 'em
very good.
off.
The edit's great. This relationship has been so beautiful to watch. Why do you think Lord Anderson is so attracted to Violet?
Yeah. If you followed Violet through all the episodes and all the seasons, I think Anderson's at a place where he's lived, he's loved, he's lost, and her energy, how she is with her kids and everything, and I think that's the beautiful thing. Some people have spoken about the baggage that we have and things like that, but it's life experience.
Yeah.
And when you have an opportunity to see how someone loves, you know, how you see how someone cares for the people that they, you know, who are closest to them, that is very endearing.
There's also shared understanding, I think.
Yeah.
When you've loved and lost, I think there's a shared understanding that certainly is comforting to be in,
Yeah.
I think.
And there aren't the games of the usual games of the ton. There's still the formality and the courtship process, but there isn't the other mums and the women looking for a husband.
Yes.
She's not
Yes.
in that
She's not in that
category.
space.
Yeah. She doesn't behave like
I
that.
love the moment where you're looking in the mirror before you see him, like you take your clothes off, you're having a look. What is Violet going through in that moment? Just describe some of
Well,
the...
I think it's been about... I had a debate with this. I can't remember how old Hyacinth is, but I think she's about...
What, 14?
Something like that, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
God, I should know. Anyway, that's how long it's been. After 14 years, you have the idea of unveiling yourself to yourself, let alone to anybody else, must be absolutely petrifying. I think that's something that people can identify with. It's... Yeah.
And I love the fact that Lord Anderson kind of allows Violet to lead.
Yeah.
What does that say about the man he is? What type of man he is?
I think he's very, very comfortable and confident in his skin, you know. I think it's almost about just kind of creating space, you know, holding space and just having this container where she is able to, you know, I guess to reveal herself in her own time. He's not in a rush.
Oh, he knows who he is, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He knows. I love it. It's just the stillness between you both
Yeah.
is so good. Give us a recap of the flirtation, where it started and where we're at now.
It started with you picking up my glove.
yeah.
So it started with picking up the glove. And then
So
coming...
you're reminding me now. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And then we come across each other again at that ball.
With Lady Danbury.
Yes, so we have a
discovered
bit of a chat and then she interrupts and then I find out that you are her brother.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of flirtation, but a bit of navigation with Agatha as well because you don't get on at the moment, at that point in time.
I think we're in season 3, slowly discovering his intentions, you know, and he comes in, and I remember, especially after part 1, people saying, I don't really trust this Anderson. I don't know what his
so
intentions are. Do you know what I mean?
So weird.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is pure intent.
Yeah.
You know?
It was.
It's pure intent. But they go through that period, you know, and then once the blessing of Lady Danbury is there, then it's like, okay, let's proceed with
With a dance.
Yeah.
So good.
Dance as well.
So good. And how about the fact that it's so much more now? How does that make you feel, seeing these characters grow?
I think for me, for Violet, I think it's a really lovely thing for her to start to embrace herself again. You know, she's thrown herself into being a mother to these children, understandably and kind of rightly, since the death of Edmund. But she's just witnessed 4 children marry and be happy. And I think it's like having a mirror put up in front of you and seeing all the things that you've missed and that you've missed for so long.
Yeah.
So she quite clearly had the urge before you turned up. So, you know, now you're there and flirting with me. It's just, that's it really, isn't it?
No, but she needed it, didn't she?
She's a cheap date now.
She's a cheap date, but
Yeah.
she needed this, didn't she?
She certainly did.
She needed this joy.
Yeah.
She needed it.
We all do. We all need the joy, don't we?
Daniel Anderson, let's talk about Lord Anderson. Has he ever been a rake or has he always been a respectable gentleman?
I think he's had moments of that, you know, before he was married, as many of the men kind of do
Then,
at that time, you know. But he's a family man.
Yeah.
He didn't have a love match, right? So he didn't have this whole whirlwind romance. It was very much an arranged sort of
Marriage,
thing.
yeah.
But he was very faithful and grew fond of his wife and everything and has kids. Now that his wife has passed and he's gone into this phase where he wants to experience love, you know, which is a beautiful space to be. It's very clear.
Do you think we're in a space of love at the moment between these two characters, or maybe not? Or is it just more of a maturity that they held?
I think that as the season goes on, what we see, especially what we see this season, is far more emotionally intimate moments between them. And as Violet reveals herself and her vulnerability He's definitely drawn to that. It's a privilege when you have another human being who is willing to reveal themselves to you. It's actually a privilege. And so when he sees that, it's very hard not to be touched and moved, you know?
That's so true. It's also like an honour when someone wants to share their life with you, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh, I love this. I love talking about love. It's the best. Daniel, it must be so incredible to become one of the Bridgerton leads. What did it feel like that you're now you're up there? This is one of the lead stories.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
I mean, I kind of just go with it. Like it's, I genuinely haven't looked at it like that. I've just kind of, for me, I just, look at the script and try to bring as much honesty and truth to it as possible and just enjoy the moment and the experience. So I haven't looked at it like that, in all honesty.
It's a big
really
deal.
haven't.
Look at it like that now, and how do you feel? And what do you think of his performance?
He's
quite proud?
fantastic. He's fantastic to work with. We've had far more emotionally intimate scenes this time when it's just the two of us. We've had sort of intimate scenes before, but it's always been in a crowd or in a ballroom, and if we've ever been alone, it's been very quiet and tentative.
Yeah.
So to kind of explore it like that, it's given us a chance to kind of play with it, really. And then, when we got into more intimate scenes, we just laughed. It was just, it was so hilarious.
It must be so weird.
Because you kind of build it up to be something, and then actually,
It's not.
I get away with fucking murder. I don't do anything. So it was really great.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Brilliant. I'm loving the relationship between Lady Danbury and Violet. Are they besties now?
Yeah, no, definitely. We talked about this earlier, that it's because of the storylines that happen, neither of us have the same interaction with Agatha Danbury this season. It's quite a strange place to be because we're so used to each other. Because Aj and I, we always laugh a lot. We either... we just laugh. We laugh, counsel each other, and reminisce about the 70s. That's all we ever do. That's basically what we do. So.
What music are you into then?
Oh, I'm rubbish with music. People always ask me about music.
I love the music
I
of
know.
Bridgerton, though, at the
I know.
moment.
I never know what any of them are.
Do you not?
No, they always have to. All the kids have to tell me what it is. I have
So
no
good.
idea.
The kids love it because obviously they recognise the tune.
Yeah.
You got a favourite?
The tea scene. I love the music. That whole sequence, I think I probably watched it about 5 or 10 times because I just felt like, not just to see my arse, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. But I just felt like the editing, the
So
music,
good.
everything was just, and I love the music in that section.
And the
It's just-
Vaseline on the lens, that was really helpful for me.
Did you like that bit?
Yeah.
You looked amazing.
I know.
I
That
love
was
that
very
corset.
exciting. Yeah, no, the corset was amazing. Yeah.
Do you actually listen to music when you're filming?
You do.
I do. I create a playlist, usually with any kind of character that I...
Do you?
Yeah, just to...
Like
it's
what
just-
Lord Anderson would be listening to? Or
the
you...
feeling of Lord Anderson or the feeling of a different character. And it'll be different depending on whatever character I'm playing. But there's a... it just helps me to zone quickly into the kind of energetic realm of the character, you know?
that.
So, yeah.
What, you just put your headphones in, just get into it?
In my trailer, and, just as I'm getting ready, putting on the costume and going into it. It's
love
kind of a
that.
bit wanky, but like, it's just...
No, it's not.
You know?
What's been your favourite scene? Is it I Have a Friend?
I think one of my favourite scenes is trying to explain to you about...
Does it work?
Yeah, does it work? What would it be like, interrupting myself with a new train of thought because I can't quite work out whether this is going to be interesting for you or anything. I love that scene.
Yeah, it is a beautiful scene.
Especially you just sit back and you're just so calm.
Yeah.
It's very difficult not to laugh watching Ruth do that
Was
because
it?
because it's brilliant. It's just really, really good. I love that scene. I think that it really encapsulates both of them, Lady Violet's willingness to share and to be vulnerable and to express herself. And I think in that moment, for me, was where Anderson really started to fall.
Yes.
I feel like he sees her in such a raw, genuine way.
The vulnerability, I
Exactly.
guess, isn't it? And someone opens up with that vulnerability.
Yeah.
You're in.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think we see, even from Anderson's perspective, like looking at Anderson, when I read that, it it was almost a confirmation for me. He was so genuine as well.
Yeah.
And he commented on the fact that she had shown herself to him and how much that meant to him.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a beautiful, really
I think
beautiful
that
moment.
vulnerability between the two of them is the thing that is really kind of beguiling for the journey that these two take. It's kind of it's really lovely.
Yeah.
And it's something that everyone can identify with, I think.
Yeah. Well, listen, I haven't seen part 2 yet, but I'm hoping these two go on to be very successful in their relationship because I absolutely have adored your relationship. Thank you so much for
Oh,
bringing
thank you.
bringing this lovely love to us. We've loved it.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
This is new.
It is.
Am I to understand that this means
I am the tea that you are having.
How much fun were they? I'm so pleased that Lady Violet has found love, and I can't wait to see their romance progress over the season. We just need to keep that Lord Anderson away from any beehives. But not all relationships are as happy as Lady V and her beau. The conflict between Sophie and her stepmother, Araminta, is genuinely heartbreaking. I sat down with Katie Leung, who plays Lady Araminta, and Yarin Ha, who plays Sophie, to see if I could help patch things up between the both of them.
You are dismissed, and you will never work again in Mayfair. I will make sure of it. Araminta. You forget yourself and your place.
Yarin, Katie, welcome to the Bridgerton podcast.
Thanks
for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's so good to see you.
Thank
Thank you.
Oh, it's so weird seeing you, Kate, first of all. You did such a good job of being bad.
Oh, thank you.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
Did ya?
I loved it, yeah. It came very easily to me.
Very natural.
A bit too easy.
All that oppressed emotion.
Yeah,
just-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, no, because prior to that, I've been playing like these really wholesome characters and quite innocent. I think someone just decided, I think she's ready for her mother era and her villain era. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready for it.
Well, you are a great villain. Please tell me in
thanks.
part 2, you're going to become a little bit nicer.
Oh, I can't guarantee that, Alison.
Oh, no.
I know.
This
I
is not
know.
good.
It always gets worse before it gets better.
Okay.
So you might.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what.
Let's see what unfolds.
Can I just say, I didn't even know you were Scottish.
Oh,
So this is your real
thanks.
accent you're speaking to me now?
Yeah, I think it's there. It's not. Yeah, so even within like my Scottish accent, it always changes. I think depending
it's
on like what I
lovely.
hear. It's at its most authentic when I'm talking to my brother. Because we don't really have a filter
Yeah.
between each other. So
So you've never forgotten on the set of Bridgerton?
I
started
think there's
using
been
this accent?
moments when the Scottish has come through, and then Jane did say to me like, "You've got to, just like words here and there."
Yeah. Okay, well, ladies, let's get into this. Because
Okay.
obviously we've seen the Penwoods. We've seen the Penwood funeral at the beginning. We saw a little bit of your childhood.
Yeah.
A lot of tension, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is the relationship between Sophie and Araminta?
Well, I think for Sophie, it's that when she was younger, she thought that maybe finally she was going to get a mother figure. And then immediately she quickly found out that actually she kind of despises her. And post her father's funeral, then she feels like she's doing her a favor by putting her under her wing and making her a maid. Otherwise, she would be on the streets. And that was what it was like back in the 1800s. And I think Sophie holds a lot of resentment for Araminta, but doesn't quite understand her and doesn't actually know any better of what the outside world could be like in terms of working under a household.
So where does this come from? Because Araminta, it feels like it's coming from nowhere, but do you think Araminta's has some struggles that she's dealing with? What's going
Yeah,
on?
I mean, it absolutely doesn't come from nowhere because we get to see, this flashback scene where she meets Sophie for the first time, and up until she meets her, she's unaware of her existence at all. So it's the kind of ultimate betrayal from, her second husband that he has a ward And I think after his death and all the rest, you know, Sophie is a constant reminder.
Yes. Maybe it's the constant reminder of her husband who has now passed on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sophie looks like her father. So, you know, it's having to face that every single day. And I think Araminta does have a sense of responsibility. As much as she would like to just throw Sophie onto the street, she does think she's doing her a favour. She genuinely thinks she's doing her a favour by offering this role of, you know, the maid, and, you know, telling her that the only way is to become invisible, because, you know, this could just really tarnish and damage our reputation, and then we'd be left with nothing.
Yeah.
So the stakes are really high. Yeah.
And then Sophie, obviously, she just goes along with it, even though she's quite feisty.
Yeah.
She goes along with it. Does she even know why Araminta despises her?
I think after her father's death and Araminta says to her that nothing has been left in the will, it's almost like she's been betrayed by her dad and she's been believing this false narrative. And therefore, maybe this position is actually the only way to survive, and maybe she is only as worthy of that position. She can understand it, but she doesn't understand it in her heart of why she despises her so much. Yeah.
Why do you think status is so important to Araminta?
It's important because she's spent years and years building it. You know, she's followed the rules. She's done everything right. She does have a reputation, and a good one at that. You know, the idea that, you know, this kind of deep, dark secret might be revealed is kind of unfathomable to her, because that would mean losing everything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not just her that's going to lose her future, but her daughters as well. You know, they're not going to find a suitor. And she doesn't want that. She doesn't want them to go through what she's been through. So it does come from a place of love and protection of them.
But even with the daughters, she treats them completely differently. Do you know what I mean? Completely differently, two daughters.
I mean, she sees potential in Rosamund because she's kind of like a little Araminta, and she follows the rules and she listens to her mum, whereas Posey's kind of a bit, you know, she's daydreaming all the time. She's not really interested, and she's a bit too curious for her own good. And so it comes from a place of concern, not that she loves Posey any less than she loves Rosamund. She's just not someone who's into gentle parenting. You know, she's kind of like tough love, you know, cruel to be kind. You know, I have huge expectations from you, but only because I love you and I believe you're capable of more.
How much fun was it to work with Michelle and Isabella? Both of you.
So much fun.
Was it
So much
good?
fun.
Yeah.
They're great. Their energy is just like on another level.
It's like little sisters.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think because we were all newbies as well, it was
That must have been lovely.
It was nice. We had hot pot before we started.
Yeah, we played Mahjong.
We went to your house and played Mahjong.
Yeah.
What's Mahjong?
Mahjong's like a Chinese kind of
I've never played.
tile game.
Is it good?
It's so good.
Do I need to get one?
Have you seen Crazy Rich Asians? They play
No.
Mahjong and what?
Babes, do I need one for Christmas?
Oh, yeah, I'll send one to you. Send me your postcard.
Thank you, Erin.
Anyway, we had lots of bonding before.
That's so lovely. I
started.
didn't even think about that. The fact that you had started together, newbies.
Yeah.
How did everyone accept you? Did they love you all?
It was really
It was
easy.
so
Really?
lovely.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Luke and a lot of the castmates also mentioned that they kind of want new energy as well. By the time, you know, the fourth season came around, they were actually excited for a bit of fresh start in a way.
Yeah.
So like,
I
and
think
he
they're
was
just
saying they need that.
Yeah.
They need that fresh meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're just very conscious of the fact that it's, you know, it's such a well-established thing, and they, you know, they do make an effort just to kind of welcome everyone with open arms. I felt as an actor I was free to then play and explore and not feel like, oh God, I better not F this up
Yes.
for anyone. You
Yeah.
know, they were just like, do whatever you want. It's fine, it's chill.
Well, you certainly didn't mess it up, because I absolutely hated you.
Oh, thanks.
I did, but now I've met
Such a
you.
compliment.
What a lovely woman.
Wonderful woman.
That makes you a very good actress.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very, very
thank
good
you.
indeed.
I think it's just the accent.
No, I love the accent. Can you believe, though, that Araminta was the only one who sussed out that the lady in silver was, in fact, Sophie? I mean, what does that even say about her? She's very intelligent.
She's very clever. She's
Yeah.
on it. I mean, I think from day dot, she's been suspicious of Sophie. She knows that Sophie's not
Yeah.
like, you know, the innocent kind of girl that everyone else sees her. It's like she knows that she's got like a cheekiness about her. She's a bit of a rebel. It's very clever, but also she's not surprised.
Yeah. Can we talk about Araminta versus Violet? You're both single moms, you know, you're both bereaved, you've lost your husbands, but you're going about it completely in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main difference between the two of them is that Violet leads with love and gratitude and affection, and she has sons. Whereas Araminta's, she's got 2 daughters, and obviously in that era, like not having a son is shamed upon.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
good point.
That's so Araminta's got, you know, the scarcity mindset. She can't afford to be affectionate. It feels in a way like a waste of time because she should be doing, she should
Yeah.
be active in ensuring that her daughters get married off. And I think the ultimate reason behind the way that they think is financial stability.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't have that, you know, so she's in survival mode. Whereas, you know, the Bridgertons, they have the wealth. It's a very privileged position to be in.
Absolutely. And Yarin, how do you think Sophie feels once she gets to the Bridgerton household after being under the thumb of Araminta?
I mean, it's almost like a dream for Sophie in the sense that that is the ideal house to work for, like that station of there's actual respect between the employee and the employer. And I got none of that from the Penwood house. And so it is like the most ideal, safe, healthy work environment that she could actually ask for. And that's what all she could dream about. And I think she dreamed nothing more than that. And so she's having a great time. And also because Benedict Bridgerton's kind of around in the house. So there's a little bit of that too.
You're like, yeah, I want to speak to you. No, I don't. Leave me alone. No, I want to speak to you.
But you're like kind of in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, from the flashbacks that we actually see, what did we learn about the childhood of Sophie?
Yeah, it was interesting watching it back with young Sophie because I wasn't there obviously on the day. But I think for me, the scene that really stuck out was when the dad was like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And she genuinely looks at him with like eyes that she's just like, yes, you're my father, you're going to take care of me. And then therefore the funeral scene, I think, hits so much harder. And just to see that purity and that innocence kind of absolutely gone by the time Araminta tells her about the will, I think just seeing her play that made it more like traumatic for present Sophie. Yeah.
It's so sad when you tell her about the will. It's so sad.
I know. But it was a genuine kind of offer. You know, I think there was like obviously manipulation there. She felt she was owed something, you know, and I think she was offering kind of like an olive branch, just being like, you know, I'm giving you this opportunity.
Yeah.
You should take it.
So she just sees that she's doing her a favour.
Yeah, she has very good intentions. They're just executed in like all the wrong ways. Yeah.
What can you tease about the relationship? The fact that you stole, first of all, Varley from the Feathingtons.
Yes.
What can you tease about that relationship?
Oh my God, I love Varley. I love Varley. I mean, Varley has big shoes to fill. After Sophie's departure, you know, she has to find like 4, 5, 6, 7 ways to fill, you know, all the great things that she was doing. And Varley's just a bit slow, and it really irritates Araminta because she likes, you know, she's very efficient. She likes things done.
It's such a good relationship, though. I love it.
It's
I'm really excited to see what
great.
happens down the line. Do you think Sophie and Araminta have anything in common?
I think they have a lot in common. I think they're both super stubborn, quite ambitious in like in different ways, but I think that it's just they're quite similar, but they just take different routes on how they execute it and communicate things.
I think in another world, they could really get on, couldn't they?
I think so too.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Araminta, what a cow.
I know. I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, like once she redeems herself, then I think there would be an opportunity there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I agree.
that's in another universe.
Yes, in another universe.
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
way over there.
Yeah.
What's your favourite scene? It was like a song.
I think firing you.
Oh, yeah.
Firing Sophie
Oh,
was
yeah, it was
because it was
horrible.
quite a big scene, and like I remember feeling quite anxious about it
Yeah.
and going, "Oh God, how do I play this?" And
Why was you anxious about it?
because it was a big scene with lots of dialogue,
Yeah.
and you know it's kind of snappy. You don't want to dwell too much on the kind of emotional part of it. Yeah, I just didn't know how it was going to play out. You know, you always have it in your head what it's going to
Yes.
look like.
But it's different when you start rehearsing, isn't it?
always, always different.
And then you get your sides.
Yeah.
For people who don't know what the sides are, they're like your words for the day,
For
aren't
the
they?
day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Look at me.
scenes. Wow.
Thank
yeah.
you. I know. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you get your sides when you never know what it's going to look like, do you, until you rehearse it?
Yeah, and in the moment, especially when, you know, emotions are high, like I tend to kind of fluff my lines and Araminta, because she's of someone who's like just such high status, you want to try and like sustain that throughout a scene. And, you know, there are moments where, you know, I tripped over my gown, for example, kind of
Did ya?
entering, and it was comical because then obviously I was like, okay, I've just lost everything. I was like, I won.
Let's do that again.
yeah. But no, I think once we got into the groove and stuff, it was a great scene to film, and yeah, just really enjoyed it as an actor, being able to kind of play all these different things.
Yeah. So lucky. What about you, Erin?
I think My Cottage as a whole, but if I had to pick a different scene, I think the scene where she's by the door with Alfie and he's telling her to go in and tell Benedict
Oh,
Bridgerton
that's
that
great
it's
scene.
you. And it's like, will she, won't she? And it's quite
Yeah.
frustrating.
So frustrating. I would have been like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah, walk
It's
through the
me.
door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping for your characters in part 2?
I think more bad bitch
More-
energy, more of that.
More that energy.
Yeah, just more of her being pure evil.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I think for
More
I want
romance, come on.
more romance,
I want more.
steam.
Yes, more. We want more
steam.
steamy moments. We want flesh. We want it all. The thing is, with Bridgerton, there's always like a space that you would never think is a sexist place. And then all of a sudden, that space is then sexy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there going to be some of that?
There will be spice. That's all I'll say.
Spicy hot.
Spicy hot.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Do you know what? I've had such a blast watching part 1. It's been
Thank
brilliant. You, young lady, you're off the scout. You, young lady, you're on another level. But honestly,
Thank you.
we're so enjoying this so much. Thank you for
Thank you
bringing
so
this to
much.
us.
Thank you so
Have you enjoyed
much.
it?
Loved every bit of
loved
it.
I've
It's
loved
been the
it.
most joyous 10 months, really, and getting to know people like Katie and Michelle and Izzy, and then
same.
also the entire cast of Bridgerton. It's been a blessing.
Can't wait for part 2. You bad, bad girl.
You bad girl.
That's our show. Big thanks to my wonderful guests, Ruth Gemmell, Daniel Francis, Katie Leung, and Yerin Ha. And this concludes part 1. We'll be back once part 2 has dropped on February the 26th. So, spoiler warning, make sure you've seen the last 4 episodes of season 4 of Bridgerton on Netflix before you listen to our next episode. Will Sophie and Benedict have their happy ending? Will Araminta get her comeuppance? And will Lady Violet and Lord Anderson move on to coffee? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Our next episode is going to be a good one. We have Francesca and her dear husband, John Sterling, aka Hannah Dodd, and Victor Ali. It looks set to be the pinnacle of podcasting. See what I did there? Plus, I'll be spending some time with some of the geniuses behind your favourite Netflix show. Executive producer Tom Verica and showrunner Jess Brownell. Fingers crossed they give me a role in season 5.